It's definitely no secret here on the channel, we do enjoy our burnouts. But when you're running a stock axle, that may not be a good idea. So we got to get an axle together so we can get our black car back in the burnout box and maybe even take a couple hits down the track with that 387 stroker. If you got one wheel peel and you're doing burnouts out there on the street and you notice you're only making one black mark on the street, this is your issue right here, right now. Let me tell you what, that makes a huge difference when you put a new set of clutch packs in a differential. So if you got one wheel peel, this is gonna be your fix. Because we're gonna be putting the black axle together that we just started to do here on the channel. We're also setting up another axle. So this is gonna get the same paint and the same bracing that we had. We're gonna cut and clearance for the C-clip eliminators, but it's gonna give us some time to figure out the Explorer axle. But in order for us to continue doing what we do with the black car and the burnout videos and the muffler videos, we gotta get an axle in that we're not gonna bend and twist up and get it ready to go. So we're gonna be installing the carbon pack kit, the 4700-B, which has the fluid in it as well, into the budget little junkyard Explorer diff, which is a 31 spline diff, which is an upgrade from the stock diff that you have in the Fox body factory axle. So we're gonna get Cousin Paul here on the differential. He's pretty good at taking these apart and cleaning them up. So what are we doing here, Cousin Paul?
Take the pin out, take the S-clip out, take the spider gears out, and there's packs behind there.
Like carbon, they're like clutch discs.
Clutch discs that I gotta take out. Put these clutch discs in the fluid. We gotta measure them out.
We gotta measure them out to a specific thickness, right? I mean, it'll be so tight in here that like this S-clip will barely go back in, but that's how you know. And considering the axles that we're using are C-clip eliminators, we won't have to use the C-clip at all. Even though they are C-clip axles, you can still use them as a non-C-clip axle. While Cousin Paul's over there resetting on differential for our budget axle to get back in our black car, we'll have Cousin Fred over here. He's putting some Rust-Oleum on. I think we actually use, what is that? That rust encapsulator or whatever from Eastwood. It's really good paint. It's like a flat black. And get it ready for me to start welding. He's gonna stay away from the welded areas. We're just gonna be reinstalling our original 355 gears and we're just reusing the same parts again. So we're not spending a whole lot of money getting that axle back together at all. So we got a couple things we need to clean up from the old setup where we had a bunch of gasket sealer in there. That C-clip limiter is just fine. It works still just fine. And we'll clean up some of this other stuff and clean and paint it up. We'll have to pop the seal, make sure this oil slinger stays in there, and reset some of these races and clean the tube real quick. We did run a spool in our black car for a number of years, and I kind of want to get away from that for it being a street car. There's nothing wrong with running a spool in the street, but it did make for driving conditions to be a little bit difficult at times. You could literally turn the steering wheel and it would be like its own e-brake. It ain't gonna go nowhere. Yeah, that axle's coming out nice. We'll get that axle caught up to this axle, just basically the bracing and the welding, and we'll kind of skip that on the video and we'll get right back into the whole budget style. By doing it this way, we're not giving up on the budget axle that we're about to finish. When we order these C-clips, you can see that there's a bearing inside that comes in and out of this housing. So what I want to do is find the bearing that matches this housing that we can use on the Explorer axles that are right here. But I don't have a whole lot of time. I got to get an axle back in that black car before I bend the one that's in it. And this is going to take a little bit of time. So we'll just build a couple axles here on the channel. So if you got one wheel peel, this is going to be your issue. Pull the pin out. This is a differential. This is the same differential that you would do the same thing to on your stock, like 28 spline. Pull the pin. Sometimes you get these in the rebuild kit. Cousin Paul's going to pull these spider gears out. So he's just riding them out. You can see all the packs that are inside. These are like little clutch packs. These get wore out. Now these aren't too bad. They're stacked a specific way inside of the differential. One of the biggest issues with the Fox body one, with the one wheel peel shit, is from the factory, they put a clutch pack against the backing of this spider gear and it prematurely would wear it out. If we were to take a stock differential apart, I could tell you that a clutch pack would be against the backing of that. Whereas it looks like this Explorer one we took apart does not. It's got a shim, which you don't really see that a lot. So if you got one wheel peel on your Fox body and you're just trying to rebuild the 28 spline diff, this is how you would do it. You just take the gear, you take the spider gears out the pin. It's not really all that difficult. So what Cousin Paul's gonna do here now is he's gonna cut open this box that we got. Now you don't have to get the expensive carbon fiber packs, whatever. You can get these rebuild kits for pretty cheap on Amazon for, you know, 50, 75 bucks. I wouldn't suggest it if you are trying to put a little bit of power to it. This stuff smells terribly bad, so we put it in baggies. And this is the carbon fiber packs and all the shims that come with this kit. So we take these carbon fiber packs and we let them soak in friction modifier. And this is what we'll be replacing all these other OE ones with. So it'll get rid of that one wheel peel. And we'll be able to do some pretty kick-ass burnouts with these.
Put the packs in first.
So we'll let them soak for a few hours before we install them. And we'll get this differential over into the solvent tank and we'll clean all this stuff up and we'll get ready to repack it. So this is how you would stack it. Shim, one clutch pack, two shims, another pack, shim pack, and then you could use these little baby shims to achieve your clutch pack thickness before you install it in a diff. Let me tell you what, that makes a huge difference when you put a new set of clutch packs in a differential. If you got one wheel peel and you're doing burnouts out there on the street and you notice you're only making one black mark in the street, this is your issue right here, right now. Okay, we're pretty much ready to assemble here. I wanted to show you, we actually have a couple spider gears from a factory one. You can see how much smaller the factory one is versus the 31 spline, the Truck Explorer. Now you would think that you could just stick one spider gear in the other using the same housing. But if I remember correctly, a couple years ago, we tried to put the Explorer spider gears in a factory housing and it didn't fit very well. So that's one of the reasons why you just changed the whole carrier. We got the packs that we've been unfortunately soaking in that garbage. Works pretty good though. But let me get started on this. We'll get it rolling and get done with this. Yummy. Let's check with the smallest one first, 30 thou. So they're all written on these. 648. Let's put the 35 thou on. Got it?
Yep.
It's close. Want to run with that? 655, fit 657?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's close to where it was at. I'd rather be a little bit tighter than loose. There you go. Line up all three tabs. That one's ready to go. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other one, and then we'll start putting the gears inside of the differential.
Yeah, usually when I do them, whatever shim goes on this side will go on the other side and it'd be about the same.
Be about the same, nice and even.
Because it's all brand new stuff.
Yeah. About the same thing. Get them all nice and seated in there and line the tabs up. The little shim comes to this outside here. Everything else, as you can see, just like the factory explains to do. And this is where the 28 spline actually fails. These packs get worn out, these little tabs on them, because from the Fox body from the factory, this tab was against the spider gear, like I mentioned earlier, and it like prematurely wore that out, all that material. That all you really needed to do was restack these and it would have been fine. But somebody did that from the factory and it was kind of fail. We're ready to put that back in. Even with the gloves on.
Even with the gloves on, my hands will smell like this stuff for an hour.
Friction modifier is no joke when it comes to smell. It is no joke. When we rebuild differentials, like to sell, we bag them up in like a multi-bag scenario. We put them in a car in the back. It's nowhere near my shop because you'll smell that shit for hours. Whatever, let's go. So just like it came out, they go right back in the same way. There's like a little divot that these sit down in. So if we did it right and we had the right shim, then this spring will actually go in pretty tight with the pin. Now these little spider gears have like a little spacer on them that come out from factory, so we got to make sure we keep those together. And you'll walk them in together from one side to the other. It should just spin. Easy peasy. He'll line up the hole. This is kind of the hardest part.
I gotta put it in the vise and pop that onto it.
So we stick it in the vise here. Kind of an easy way to do it, sort of. And he'll collapse the spring a little bit. And here in a second, you'll see him bring the differential over here and just set it right down on it. He's getting his workout in today. What in the hell? Did you just karate chop that, dog?
Put my fingers in here to keep them lined up.
And you, okay. And then you just
pop them on.
It's just a starter to get it started. I just used the damn hammer.
Almost snapping loose.
Look at this. Okay, so we got the S bracket clip in. We got the new packs in. Okay, before we finish the video, I wanted to make special reference to the fact that the Explorer pin is thicker than the factory 28 spline pins. You can see the difference here. As we showed you the difference with the spider gears. You know, you have to use the Explorer differential pin, and you can't just use the Fox body one. Now, we had to shave this and machine it down. If you currently already have C-clip axles, which you see the nub here, C-clip axle, okay? Because a non-C-clip axle won't have this. And you're converted over to C-clip eliminator. Say you already got the axle and you put the eliminator on, which is your next step, which is what you should do. You'll either have to cut this off to convert this to a non-C-clip axle, or one thing that we did, you know, machine this down at the machine shop. So before we finish the video, I wanted to make reference to that, as we did that instead of hacking our axles apart. We decided to just do that instead. So last thing we want to mention,
when you get the better clutch packs,
the carbon fiber ones,
yes, they send you a better pin for your differential,
which already has the thread lock already on it.
Yep.
Which goes here and locks the pin in. So he lines it up, he lines the pin up, 5/16. So we have just rebuilt a 8.8 differential from the junkyard. Whether you're running a 28 spline or a 31 spline or rebuilding your differential, that's definitely something that you're going to want to do with maintenance on your axle. Our next step is to put the whole axle together and get it back in the black car so we can start doing the burnout box shit that we did here on the channel. So if you guys enjoy this sort of content, leave me a comment below, let me know what you think. Check out that join button, become a member of the channel, and get exclusive content to the channel. Outside of that, I just appreciate you guys for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. We'll see you soon in the next video.